WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Thanks for joining us. We begin with an active situation in Tupelo. Police are searching for suspects in a late afternoon armed robbery.
That's right. Officers are combing the area right now near Wilson and Baker Streets after someone reported being robbed in that area. The initial call said shots were fired during the robbery, but so far police have not found anyone hit by gunfire. The alleged robbery victim was found and that investigation is ongoing. We, of course, will bring you details as they become available to us.
The Tupelo Police Department is in a state of transition, and the new Police Advisory Board is helping make those changes.
WCBI's Parker King attended the Tupelo Police Advisory Board this morning. He joins us in the studio now to tell us more on what the group hopes to accomplish. Parker?
Guys, Tupelo is trying to make a positive out of a dark period in its history. The death of Ronnie Shumpert divided the town, and the police department found itself caught in the middle. Now the advisory board is going to some extensive measures to reach out to the community and let them know that their #1 priority is serving the community.
The new Tupelo Police Advisory Board is trying to find its footing in the wake of the officer-involved death of Ronnie Shumpert.
We have our prejudices with each other, and I think this board is a buffer for the police department to help kind of become more centered.
The members say it's easy to point fingers at police officers, but say the real solution is becoming a part of the department.
If you care about your community and you want to make a difference, come help us make a difference. And that's joining the police department. It's a good way to reach out and get to know your community, enforce the laws, and maybe help people.
Here's one of the more impressive statistics. Out of the last 1.5 million calls to service in Tupelo, only 154 have had complaints.
I think they're staggering. A lot of times they don't realize how many calls of service we have and how low the complaint level is. That means we're doing a lot of things right. Every day we strive to do better. And that's getting out and talking to the community and just finding out what their needs are.
Other ways to bring a positive light to the department are promotional videos and PowerPoints. Board members hope that these new strategies can show people that there is a career in law enforcement.
I really think it's a calling that they have to do this, to come into this police department and be a police person, man or woman, whoever it may be. I think that they need to feel that this is something they really want to do.
Moving forward, department leaders hope they can bring in police who accurately represent the city of Tupelo.
That's making sure we go out and we recruit, and that's one of what we do in the promotional videos, is trying to recruit the minority population, just getting diverse people here that want to make a difference in their community.
Deputy Chief Gilbert mentioned that there are currently 8 spots open in the department. New ways of approaching the recruitment process could not only fill these spots quickly, but also allow Tupelo to view their police as a friend and not an enemy. Andrea, back to you.
Parker in our studio with that story. Now, one change the Tupelo Police Department has put into place is the addition of body cameras for patrolmen. Some residents raised concerns about the cameras being an invasive evidence gathering tool. With a recent change to the policy, TPD is confident now there will be more transparency and accountability.
The cameras are doing good. We've had a few little glitches, on a few of them, but we've been able to work the bugs out of them, so to speak, and now they're up and going, and we're doing great things with them.
The cameras are not on constantly. That new policy says they will only be activated during an enforcement-related issue.
The Monroe County Sheriff's Department continues to search for a missing man. 63-year-old Warren Bowen was last seen at the BP station in Aberdeen almost a week ago. His mother reported him missing and says this isn't normal behavior. Sheriff Cecil Cantrell says the man has physical disabilities and deputies are worried for his safety.
We're asking anybody that would know the whereabouts of him to please call the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. And all we want to know is, are you okay? If we find that out and get the word to the family, but the family is very, very concerned about his well-being along with us, and we're just trying to get him located.
Now, if you know where Bowen is tonight, call the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. Time now to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson with a first look at your forecast. And there's some storms brewing out there, Keith.
Indeed, Joey, there are some storms dumping a lot of heavy rain. This is the look from Columbus looking back to the west, and there's a pretty good rain shaft right there. That has been moving through the Starkville area. Let's go and look at the MDOT camera there near Mississippi State University and some wet roads. And notice the ditches here really filling up with some rainfall here as we've gone throughout the last hour. Some spots over an inch, some spots over 2 inches. You can see this complex weakening as we go throughout the last couple of minutes here, but still some showers and thunder showers out there. These will tend to fall apart as we go throughout the evening hours, so a little bit wet right now. By 11 o'clock, quiet 79. The full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. Well, for many rural areas in our state, attracting new residents and jobs can be a difficult task. Despite a recent increase in unemployment numbers, one county is winning that battle.
Yeah, Choctaw County is using several tools, including its school system, to grow. Our Quentin Smith visits Ackerman to find out more about its economic success. He joins us live in the studio with more. Quentin.
Joey, Choctaw County is made up of 3 small cities, Ackerman, Ware, and French Camp. Despite its small size, the county employs thousands of people. However, the jobless rate went from 3.7% to 4.8%. But the numbers don't tell the whole story on how county leaders are competing for these jobs.
Amy Burdine has lived in Choctaw County her entire life.
It's just a small town feeling. The people here know everyone. You know, if you need anything, there's plenty of people to help with it. You know, it's just very community oriented. You know, people.
She's one of more than 3,000 people who are employed in Choctaw County.
There is a lot of employment opportunities here. Both I and my husband work here in Choctaw County and have for a long time.
For many, seeing the county's continuous growth comes as no surprise.
We are the energy capital of the state because there's no other county in our state that has 3 power plants plus a lignite mine.
All of which employs hundreds of people. Donna McKay works with the Choctaw County Chamber of Commerce. She says the county has several tools it uses to draw people to the area, including the school system.
Our Choctaw County School District ranks 3rd highest for the 3rd grade reading scores in the state. And our elementary schools are consistently ranked top in the state.
Its hospital and healthcare system are one of the biggest employers. The county sits between 2 major highways, which, according to McKay, helps marketing to companies a little easier.
There's a lot of jobs being brought into like the Golden Triangle area, and so, you know, people can commute, you know, can drive, you know, like to Starkville, Columbus area, you know, if they need to, but they can live in Choctaw County, you know, get cheaper taxes, get a really good you know, have a really good school system, you know, lower taxes, lower cost of living, that type thing.
Now, Choctaw County also partners with Webster County to help recruit more jobs to the region. Andre and Joey, back to you.
In a disaster, many communities rely on volunteers to respond, but those volunteers need to know how to respond.
That's right. When we come back, we find out how local agencies are making that happen. Welcome back. When disaster strikes, having people trained ready to respond is crucial.
Yeah, in Lowndes County, the United Way is working with local volunteer organizations to equip residents with the skills and knowledge to act in a time of crisis. WCBI's Victoria Bailey attends the session, and she joins us live in the studio with more. Victoria.
That's right, Joey and Andrea. Hurricanes, tornadoes, flash floods. We experience the effects of these natural disasters, but first responders are making sure the community is at least one step ahead of the curve.
Waiting until the day of the disaster is a disaster.
That was the theme for the first responder and volunteer organization meeting on how to teach life-saving skills and prepare for outside help when it arrives.
So we're here today to be a proactive community so that we'll know in advance or try to prepare as best as possible of how to handle those volunteers so that we can make the right impact.
The Volunteer Response Center training program originally began in 2002, but slowed down after Katrina. Lowndes County EMA Director Cindy Lawrence says unpredictable weather in Mississippi calls for the group to reignite.
We have had a disaster within the past 3 years, so that's why we're kind of bringing it back, because we had a tornado that touched down in 2014, 2016, and 2017. So now we are back saying we really need to get our volunteers trained.
Renee Sanders is Director for Volunteer Columbus, but she serves 3 counties. She says a lot of volunteer work is needed outside when a disaster hits, but the inside job is just as important.
Educate the individuals on maps. We need individuals in the community that are willing to come and just answer the phone calls to let individuals know where to get the help, where do I go. We need individuals to help with paperwork, because there's a lot of paperwork that has to be done when FEMA and MEMA come into town.
The United Way partnered with the Red Cross, Salvation Army, Columbus Air Force Base, and first responders throughout the area. Volunteer Mississippi Commissioner Linda Gates says it takes all hands on deck to prepare for the unknown.
This is an attempt to bring many of those together on the front end so that everybody will be prepared, trained, linked communication-wise, and ready to go efficiently and effectively.
Reporting in Columbus for WCBI News, I'm Victoria Bailey.
Now the next volunteer response training program meeting will be held in August. Joey?
All right, thanks, Victoria. Columbus Fire and Rescue is busy packing its gear to assist in the deadly LaFleur County plane crash. The department's hazmat truck and communications gear have been requested by the military to help with security at the crash site and communications. 8 members of CFD will be meeting up with 3 people from West Point's fire department. Assistant Fire Chief Dwayne Hughes says the department's advanced communications radio is why they were requested.
As part of a regional response team, we have members that are trained in overland search and rescue, and they've been requested along with our communications vehicle, which is one of the few vehicles that is able to tie radio communications between military and civilian.
The teams will be leaving early tomorrow morning.
Interesting view of the rain around West Point right now. Just got this picture in via Twitter. You can see that rain shaft right there. Some pretty good downpours around West Point. Let's go there with our live Alpha Insurance camera. Just a few raindrops dotting our camera lens right now. Your full forecast is next.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Great to see you. We are looking in Tupelo right now, looking south. A live look from our Alpha Insurance camera in downtown at Fair Park. You can see some of these clouds on the distant horizon. Those are the clouds associated with the showers and thunder showers down in the Golden Triangle area, and we can see one of those firsthand looking back from Columbus, looking back to the west right there. So that's the storm cell that is raining itself out. It's the one that's been moving through Starkville. There's another one that is approaching West Point right now. You can see this rainbow right there over the last hour in the Starkville area, and there's another one right outside your front door in the city of Starkville with the sun and some of that rain coming on down. Some spots getting over 2 inches of rain. That's the radar estimate over the last 2 hours. Right there in the center of the Starkville area and around that, still some very heavy downpours. So that's where the heaviest storm has been thus far, and you can see that storm cell migrating back to the north towards West Point. And just looking over at our West Point Skycam, I don't have it loaded up right now, but it is coming down pretty good in downtown West Point. And you can see, look at this neat little outflow boundary, this little arc very faint, but that is some cool air rushing out of some of this, and it really acts like a mini cold front, and it's charging to the north, and that could spark some additional storm cells or showers here farther north, even including Tupelo and Amory, Hamilton, Sulligent, and Vernon. So we'll just see what pops over the next hour or two. There's some additional activity down here near Tuscaloosa. All of this should be done by about 9 o'clock at the latest, yet again, just like clockwork. 80s and 90s or 70s if you're underneath one of those storm cells, in the 70s most likely. The heat index not too bad, assuming you are underneath one of those storms as well. But over time, over the next week or so, some of those heat indices may be up to about 105. Tonight, once the storms and showers go away, 74, warm and muggy, but otherwise quiet. And where have you seen this forecast before? 70s at 8 o'clock, pushing 90 by noon, low 90s in the afternoon. That is the forecast for our Thursday, a 30 to 40% chance for a pop-up shower storm. And there you have it, very similar to what we've had today. So some localized downpours, thunder and lightning, some refreshing breezes with any thunderstorm. And these rain chances will continue through the weekend, if anything, maybe trickling off a little bit as we get into next week. So nothing too controversial here. This is typical July weather for the Deep South, warm and steamy during the day and pretty muggy at night.
Coming up, former head coach Houston Nutt officially files a lawsuit against Ole Miss. Tom will have the details when we come back.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Miss head coach Houston Nutt is accusing the school and its athletic foundation of conspiring to defame him. A federal lawsuit filed Wednesday says current head coach Hugh Freeze, athletic director Ross Bjork, and others orchestrated a publicity campaign to blame Nutt for the school's NCAA investigation. Go to our website, WCBI.com, to read the lawsuit in its entirety and for the university's statement on the lawsuit. We'll hear from the Ole Miss Rebels tomorrow for their SEC Media Day, but the Alabama Crimson Tide joined the madness on Wednesday. Head coach Nick Saban says he'll never forget the last-second loss in the title game to Clemson, and now the Tide are using it as motivation. Posters of the final touchdown are all over the locker room, adding extra fuel to the fire as the Tide look to make another title run in 2017.
When we get tired, we got to work harder. Coach Carkin always says, Clemson is right there. Don't jump off sides, don't jump past the line. So, that motivated the team a lot. I think we really, we got that in the back of our head, but we're really focused and ready for this season.
To the high school football tour. 5 seasons ago, the South Lamar Stallions experienced a season of futility, going 0-10. The Stallions have charged back with 3 straight seasons in the postseason, looking to make it 4 in 2017. Alabama Week rolls along as South Lamar is the 25th stop on our high school football tour.
WCBI 60 Schools in 60 Days is brought to you by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and Emerson Animal Hospital, where your pets are family in West Point.
Year 1 of the Clay Gillum era at South Lamar is in the books, and year 2 has all the promise of bringing more success for the Stallions.
I learned a lot last year with how well the guys responded, with the way I coach and all, and our assistant coaches, how well they did with them, and I was really proud of them. One thing when I came in was try to change the culture and all here, to get in the weight room year-round, and that's a big key. And then just getting everyone involved here in the community. Once you start winning ball games, everyone's going to support you, and that's a big key to our success here at South Lamar.
A first-round exit in the postseason was a disappointing end for the Stallions a year ago, but brings added motivation to the offseason.
It motivates us a lot in here to get better, bigger, and stronger. Focus is a lot more better this year, a lot more better than it was last year.
This year I'm just going to try to do the same thing as last year, lead the team the best way possible, and hope for W's the whole way out.
Plenty of talent will be returning for Coach Gillum this upcoming season, and the experienced Stallions believe this could be the year for a serious title run.
We got our running back Buster, like he said, he's explosive, We got a lot of more young guys with a lot of more talent, that's going to help us out majorly.
I feel like this is the year we can do it. Go back to Bryant. We go to Bryant Danny and win a championship. I feel like this should be the year.
South Lamar's season begins with a Lamar County showdown with the Bulldogs of Vernon. In Millport, Tom Ebel, WCBI Sports.
60 schools in 60 days with South Lamar High School was brought to you by the Bank of Vernon, Shop and Save, Vernon Dental, and Alpha agent Alicia Clark.
Got some pretty good rain in West Point right now. It won't last the evening, but it's out there right now. You can see the showers and thunder showers propagating from south to north, and this should be out of here, at least falling apart, completely done, maybe by about 8:30 or 9. We'll do it again Thursday, Friday, the weekend. There you go. Hot and humid, scattered storms. That's what we do.
We'll do it the rest of the summer.
This is true.
Essentially.
All right. Thanks so much, Keith. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.